Yo, what's up fanbase, it's your boy Blaze Hollow coming at you again with another What If. This time we bring you part 3 of What If Deku Wasn't Espada. But I want to say to all of you first, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa. I don't know what other holidays are out there during the Christmas season, but if there are others, let me know down in the comment section below. I know it's been a long time since I made a video for this series, so I'm hoping that you enjoy it. If it does not get as much views or likes that I'm wanting, then it will probably be cancelled. But with all that said, let's start that intro and finally get into it.
Maybe in a million miles on a highway through the skies. Someday soon we'll be together.
No, I honestly don't think you can become a hero.
9 months and 3 weeks have passed since Grinjo and Izuku decided to come back from training a week early. The moment they step through the door, they drop off their camping gear, tired from their long trip. Only for a moment later, Neliel came out of the kitchen, happy to see her husband and son, but then needed to cover her nose because both of them smelled horribly. My god, the both of you smell so bad. Did you not take the chance to clean yourselves while you were out there? Izuku had a sweat drop of annoyance. I didn't have time. Dad kept on hunting me down, wanting me to be ready for anything. It was truly survival of the fittest. Joe just folded his arms, proud of what he did. You wanted real experience of what it was like for me and your mother to grow up training that way, so I gave it to you. Leo just shook her head, wondering what she did to deserve a strong-headed husband. I don't care what the reason is. Both of you hit the showers and don't come out till you're smelling like roses. Izuku picked up his bag as he started to step up the stairs, only for his mother to realize connected to his belt loop was a sword. Joe was about to head up the stairs himself, only for a hand to be placed on his chest by Neliel. As he looked at her, realizing what she wanted to ask already, he finally unlocked his sword. It took him about 3 months of our training for him to finally do it, but I'm proud of him. Neliel was concerned about that fact. Can he transform yet? Joe nodded, not happy about that fact, as he was actually rubbing his left side, showing a little bit of scarring. He can transform, but he doesn't have great control over it, so I told him not to use it unless as a last resort, do or die. Izuku decided to take a 2-hour soak in the tub, making sure that he was smelling fresh and clean like his mother wanted. As he went to his room to get dressed, putting on some jeans and a t-shirt, he wanted to remind some people of this town that he's come back. So he jumped out of his window and started heading toward town. As he was walking through town, he heard some ruckus in a nearby alleyway. Seeing that there was a group of guys trying to shake up a young girl. Why don't you guys just leave the girl alone? One of the 3 teens turned around, revealing blonde ashy hair, showing that it was Bakugo. Oh, so you're finally back, Deku. What are you going to do, stop us? Deku just shook his head, starting to believe that he gave Bakugo short-term memory loss for every time he kicked his ass. Look, just take you and your lackeys away from the girl. She probably doesn't want to deal with you, and I don't feel like having to drag you home to your mother today. I just got back into town. Bakugo just walked up like he was some kind of smug criminal with his hands in his pocket. Look, Deku, you've been gone for 9 months. Do you really think that I haven't gotten stronger, so why don't you just walk away before I show you my new strength? Deku just rolled his eyes as he quickly just kicked Bakugo in the face, slamming him right into the wall, knocking him out. Alright, you two goons, take your leader and leave. Remember that this is still my territory and I'm the real king of this city. Guys picked up Bakugo as they ran off with their tails between their legs, as the girl actually goes over to Izuku and hugs him, feeling that the girl has dark purple hair with a sound wave in it, along with long earlobes and earphone jacks at the end. Thank you so much. They were harassing me like crazy. I feel like if you didn't show up, they were going to get really out of hand with me. Izuku pats her on the back and kindly gives her some space so she can breathe. Why didn't you scream? I'm sure that there were some pro heroes in the area, or at least some helpful Samaritans that would have actually said something. The girl was a little bit flustered as she was blushing a little bit. Was going to scream, but one of them grabbed onto my earphone jack and said if I screamed that they were going to try to rip it off, so I got scared. Izuku had a grim look on his face like he wanted to chase after those 3 and beat them to death, but he decided to calm himself down and wanted to be a gentleman like his mother wanted him always to be. Would you like me to escort you home? And oh, before I forget, what is your name? The girl thought that it was sweet that Izuku wanted to walk her home. Well, if it isn't much of a bother, I would appreciate it, and my name is Kyoka Jiro. Izuku just shrugged, thinking that it might be fun. Sure, I was thinking about getting a smoothie from Dutch Bros across the street. Why don't you join me before I walk you home? And by the way, my name is Izuku Jaggerjack. Jiro smiled, thinking that a drink would be really nice. Sure, why not? It would be fun. Both of them go into the Dutch Bros as Jiro orders a medium Ninja Frost as Izuku orders a custom drink. It is a strawberry mango smoothie, add passion fruit and blackberries with a little bit of whipped cream. After a few minutes, they receive their drinks and start walking down the street as both of them come across a music shop. Jiro was a little bit hesitant, like she really wanted to go into the shop but not wanting to be a bother to Izuku. Hey, I know you don't have to stay with me, but if you want to check out the music shop, I want to see if they have one of the new albums that I've been looking for. Izuku looked at the shop and thought that it would be interesting. Maybe he would even pick up some new music himself. Sure, maybe I'll find something I like as well. Jiro smiles as she walks in. After skimming around in each section for a little bit, she actually finds a new album by her favorite band, Panic at the Disco. Wait, they actually had the album I was looking for. Izuku looked over at the album, realizing that it was by one of his favorite bands. Wait, you like Panic at the Disco? Jiro had stars in her eyes, seeing that she met someone that actually likes American music just like her. It's one of my favorites, and my favorite song by them is I Wrote Sin, Not Tragedy. Izuku raised an eyebrow with a smirk on his face. Really, it's not a bad song, but it's not one of my favorites. I would have to say my favorite song is Victorious. Jiro was intrigued by the song choice. Is it because it's a little bit more of an aggressive song, or is it because the song changes throughout the play? Izuku put a hand on his chin, thinking about the question. I would have to say it's because it sounds like they're really speaking their minds in the song. Jiro reached out and picked up the CD. No, call me old-fashioned, but I still enjoy CDs more than downloading actual music. Izuku smirked as he took the CD out of her hands. Well, since you've been so much fun, why don't you let me buy this for you? That way when we meet each other again, we can listen to it together. Jiro had a playful smile on her face. Oh, by the way you're talking, it's almost like you're trying to ask me out on a date. Izuku walked up to the register with her as he paid for the CD and then handed it to her. Maybe I am. You are cute. Plus, we share the same music taste. Jiro blushed a little bit as she was holding onto the bag and then sipping on her smoothie so she would have a few minutes to think about her response. As tempting as that is, we barely know each other. Maybe we should just swap numbers for now and get to know each other. Both of them walk out of the shop as Izuku gets Jiro home as they swap phone numbers at the door. As they quickly take a picture of each other for memory's sake, Jiro waves him off as she goes inside only to see her mother in the living room seeming to be looking out the window enjoying what she saw. Oh, is that your new boyfriend I just saw you come home with? Jiro was blushing so hard, not expecting her mother to be watching the whole scene. Oh, he's just a friend I met today. He saved me from some jerks trying to have their way with me, so he treated me to a smoothie and got me a CD. Jiro's mother smiled, thinking that her daughter was just being oblivious. So your Prince Charming came to save your life and then treated you like a princess. Jiro was starting to get annoyed, not wanting to play this little teasing game with her mother. Izuku and I are just friends. He was being nice, probably trying to comfort me after such a stressful situation. Jiro's mother leaned back on the couch as she rolled her eyes a little bit. Whatever you say, sweetie, you should bring him into the house next time to introduce him to me and your father. Jiro let out a heavy sigh. I'll think about it. I'm just glad that Dad wasn't here. He probably would have made a whole scene out of it. Cut back to Izuku as he was leaping on top of the buildings using sound step, not really trying to head home because his mother probably is annoyed that he snuck out of the house. Only for him to be stopped by Stark, who let out a puff off of his cigarette, making sure to face away from Izuku. You're finally back in town and you don't come visit me right away, I'm hurt. Izuku let out a deep breath, happy to see that it's his Uncle Stark. Sorry about that. I just got back into town not too long ago and I wanted to reconnect with the city. Stark took a drag off of his cigarette as he just blew it out. I guess that makes sense, but word around the agency for those who are doing night shift that your mother's not happy with you for sneaking out of the house. Izuku got worried, thinking that his uncle was about to sell him out. Please don't tell me you're here to capture me. Stark took a seat on the edge of the building. No, not really. It'd be way too much effort, but I gotta say the girl you were hanging out with was not too bad. Izuku blushed, not realizing that his uncle was watching him the entire time. I didn't even sense you. How long have you been watching me? Stark chuckled in amusement as he took a puff off of his cigarette. You're assuming that I'm the only one that's been watching you, isn't that right? Izuku got worried as he felt a hand on his shoulder, seeing that it was pale as he started to tremble as he looked back to see that it was his other uncle Ukiura with a blank expression on his face. I was the one sent to bring you home, but then I saw you with that girl and decided to watch, but that's when Stark found me spying spying on you. We decided to tail you and wait till you were completely alone. Izuku felt embarrassed knowing that his uncles were just watching him. I appreciate you not ruining the moment, but seriously, it's a little bit creepy knowing that you were both watching me from the shadows. Kyoka kept a blank expression as he just shrugged his shoulders. Yes, I could have just gone down there and kept you from talking to that girl. I think it would have been a lot more embarrassing to drag you away like a child than what we actually did. Izuku sometimes forget how straightforward his uncle Ukiura can be. Well, I appreciate you not spoiling the mood, but I hope you can understand that I just wanted to enjoy some time in the city and I didn't think that mom was going to let me go out this late. Ukiura really didn't care for the reasoning. He just didn't like that his business line kept on getting messages from Neliel. I really don't care. I should be home to my wife already. The only reason I'm out here is because your mother keeps on blowing up my work phone. So just go home and I don't actually have to rough you up like she wanted me to. Ark finished his cigarette as he just threw it over the edge of the building and placed a hand on both of their shoulders. Well, before we go our separate ways, word down the grapevine, Izuku, is that you finally have gotten your sword. Kyoka actually faltered for a minute, almost looking like he was giving off an expression of shock as it goes back to being plain. Is this true, Izuku? Izuku scratched the back of his head, a little bit nervous about this entire situation. Yeah, I did. After 3 months of my dad's training, I was able to summon it, and 2 months later, I was actually able to learn its name and transform for the first time. Ark got uneasy hearing this information. Your father has explained to you only to transform if it is truly necessary, and I mean truly necessary, right? Kyoka looked upset, almost as his hand was fidgeting over his blade. I want you to understand that your transformation is not something to be messed with. It's dangerous and could threaten a lot of people's life without you even realizing it. Izuku just nodded his head in understanding. Trust me, I've been told by Dad, and I'm probably going to get an earful from Mom too, but I was told that our transformation was a sign of something to be proud of, not to be afraid of. Ark and Ukiura looked at each other. Stark seemed to have a very somber look on his face while Ukiura was looking up towards the night sky. Like he really didn't want to talk about it, causing Stark to pull out another cigarette from his pack as he started to smoke it. Look, there's a lot of things you don't know about Izuku, and it's not really our place to tell you about it. Kyoka stepped forward as he put a hand on Izuku's shoulder. I'm going to take you home. This conversation has dragged out a lot more than I wanted it to. Izuku was confused, but before he could fight against Ukiura, he used his sound step to flash him in front of Izuku's house, dropping him off on the doorstep, and quickly knocked on the door before flashing away. Neliel opened the door to see her son, and she quickly grabbed him by the ear and pulled him inside as she slammed the door behind them, dragging her son to the living room and then just tossing him onto the couch. Izuku Jaggerjack, I have half a mind to ground you and not even let you go to the UA entrance exam. Neliel was pacing the living room floor back and forth in front of Izuku. Tell me why you snuck out of the house. Izuku was holding on to his ear that was hurting from when his mom grabbed onto it. I just wanted to see the city. It's been a long time and I didn't think you were going to let me out because it was so late. Neliel looked at her son annoyed as she just took a few deep breaths to calm herself down. I understand that you're excited to be back in town, especially after 10 months of your dad's grueling training, but you could have at least talked with me a little bit before running out. Don't you ever think about how your mother feels? Izuku started to feel bad considering that his mother actually hasn't seen him for 10 months either. Sorry about that, Mom. I just didn't think about it. I was more excited about seeing what had changed in town. Neliel just sat down on the couch next to her son as she just gave him a very tight hug. I truly do get it. You're young and you want to have excitement and adventure at every turn. Your father and I were the same when we were around your age, and we still wait for your father to grow out of it. Jiro came into the living room with an annoyed look on his face as he put 3 drinks on the coffee table and plopped down on the couch right next to his son. Come on, sweetie, I'm not that bad. Neliel just chuckled to herself for a little bit. You're right, you're a lot worse. Izuku laughed out when he saw the dumb look on his father's face. You know you had that one coming, Dad. You shouldn't leave Mom with an opening like that. Jiro just leaned back on the couch as he was ruffling his son's hair. Yeah, you're right. Also, don't expect me to save you. You know better than sneaking out of the house. Izuku rolled his eyes at his father. Right, not to get caught and to make sure to pay off both of your co-workers locker so they don't rat you out when you're staying at the bar too long. Neliel had a sweet smile on her face, a little too sweet, as an aura that could kill anybody that looked at her was around her. What exactly is he talking about, sweetie? Grimjaw just glared at his son, realizing that he did that on purpose. Neliel, I don't know what he's talking about. Shouldn't we be disciplining our son about sneaking out of the house? Neliel put a hand on her husband's cheek like they were about to have a tender moment, as she takes her hand back a little bit and smacks him right across the face, sending him flying across the living room. Knew that you were staying out too late for work, but yes, you are right. We should get back to scolding our son about sneaking out of the house. Izuku shivered, knowing that his mom was good at putting up a sweet front behind such killer intent. Mom, look, I'm sorry. The only reason that I was out so long is because I came across this girl and I had to help her, and then we did some stuff together. Eliel's killer instinct disappeared as her motherly instinct, along with her gossip instinct, kicked in. My god, my little boy has finally found a girlfriend. Who is she? What happened? And what were you two doing tonight? Izuku had a sweat drop, thinking that his mother might be a little bit bipolar. Well, technically I met her tonight as she was being assaulted by a group of people, so I decided to save her, and afterwards we went to a music shop and got some CDs along with some smoothies. Eliel was giddy with joy with the story that sounds like love at first sight. Oh, what's her name? You seem to be glancing over that part. Izuku felt awkward as his mother seemed to be acting like a teenager wanting to gossip off of the playground instead of acting like a mature adult. Her name is Kyoka Jiro. Rimja was finally able to get himself out of the wall as he was stumbling onto his feet. So the prince has finally found his princess. You'll have to introduce her to us sometime. Izuku shook his head. We just met each other today. We're not dating. We're trying to become really good friends, and we even swap phone numbers with each other. Rimja just had a big smile on his face. Oh, being a playboy, I understand that. You are royalty. You might as well just look around before you pick one. Eliel gave her son a great big hug out of joy. She then placed both her hands on his shoulders, trying to get his complete attention. Don't listen to your father. You might have a chance with this girl. She seems nice. Plus, you have the hero card in your back pocket. You should see if this goes somewhere. The whole conversation about Izuku's love life went deep into the night as both parents actually forgot about the whole sneaking out of the house thing. As a few days passed, Izuku was in front of the large entryway of UA as many people around him were walking by, as they seemed to be nervous, excited, and some were worried. But all were fighting for a chance to have a seat in UA's hero course as Izuku was about to walk inside, only to get startled by a poke in the cheek from Jiro. I'm glad that I was able to find you before he went inside. Izuku just got a cheeky smile on his face. I was kinda waiting for you, but I thought that maybe you chickened out at the last minute. Jiro scoffed as she walked inside. In your dreams, like I would let that happen. Izuku walked beside Jiro. Trust me, you don't want to know what goes on in my dreams. Jiro stopped dead in her tracks as she pointed one of her earphone jacks right into Izuku's head. If you are going to act perverted, I'm going to send a pulse wave right into your brain. Izuku held his hands up like he was afraid, even though he wasn't. Oh please, Lady of Music, spare this humble knight, for he does not know what he does. Jiro shook her head, amused by Izuku's antic. Seriously, you're going to use Shakespeare against me? Izuku smiled, hoping that his little joke calmed down Jiro. Well, is it working? Jiro laughed a little bit as a smile came onto her face at the same time as she plugged her earphone jack right into Izuku's forehead, sending a pulse wave right into his brain. It worked so well that it made me want to punish you even more. Izuku fell onto his knees, acting like he was in pain, even though it didn't hurt as bad as it looked. It was still annoying to deal with, but after a few minutes they just laughed it off and headed inside the auditorium and took the seats in the back. Jiro looked Izuku up and down and noticed that he didn't bring his sword with him. Hey, where is your sword? Don't you think you're going to need it for the entrance exam? Izuku shrugged his shoulders, not really worried about anything. Not really, I feel like it would be overkill. Plus, there's some kind of regulation that says you can't use weapons unless it's a part of your quirk. Jiro thought about it for a second, then realized that no one had support gear with them, or stood out at least, so it probably made sense. I guess you don't really need it. Those energy blasts along with your quick speed and strength should be more than enough for this exam. Although both of them were having this conversation, President Mike was going over the directions along with giving out the point system, only to be interrupted by a boy with blue hair who seemed to be standing up stiff and pointing at a document about the robot, then pointing at the back of the auditorium right where Izuku and Jiro were sitting. You two in the back are being a big distraction for everybody else. If If you are not going to take the exam seriously, then can you please leave so everybody else can concentrate? Izuku stood up as he noticed a spotlight was placed on the both of them. Hey look, buddy, if it was such a big issue, everybody else would be complaining, not just you. But the fact that you're the only one doing it shows that it's only your problem, not everybody else's. So maybe you should just sit back down and shut up. Blue-haired boy was offended by how harsh Izuku was talking to him. Now listen here, do you really think that attitude of yours is fitting of a hero? Cousin Mike decided to have both of the spotlights shut off as they were all now pointing back on him. Okay, I don't really think there's anything else that needs to be pointed out here. If you have your papers, then you know what to be expecting. You'll be handed a sheet of paper on which bus to be taking for your exam on the way out. So make sure to leave in an organized fashion. Everybody started to leave the auditorium, each one being handed a flyer one by one until Izuku and Jiro got one. As it was showing that they were going to different testing sites, Jiro looked at her sheet. Looks like I'm going to be a part of Group C. What did you get? Izuku looked at his sheet disappointed. I'm in Group E. Jiro quickly gave him a playful punch on the shoulder. Well, you better pass and meet me at the front gate afterwards so we can talk about our experience on the way home. Izuku didn't think within a week's time that he can grow so close to Jiro after their first meeting, but he was so happy that he did. Alright, I'll meet you at the gate after all this. Good luck, but I don't think that you'll need it. But that's where I'm going to leave it all this time, guys. I hope that you're enjoying your holidays and that you enjoy this series. But with all that said, I'm out this time, guys. Bye.